that Daniel Dubois has challenged Jake Paul, if you like, to a fight. How would you see that going?
You know what? I like Jake Paul. I like what he's doing for boxing, but this is getting ridiculous now. Obviously,
Jake Paul's recent victory has shaken up the boxing world, raising questions about his next move, his next opponent potentially being Daniel Dubois, signaling a bold step toward tougher competition.
Crazy scenes in the boxing world today, as always with our sport guys, as heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois has called out Jake Paul. What is going on? I don't really know what the Daniel Dubois is thinking with this, but let's be honest, it's probably not serious. It's probably him just having a bit of fun and doing a bit of clout chasing. But have you guys noticed, every time Jake Paul gets called out by a real boxer of a good level, he always shuts it down in some way and makes an excuse?
Heavyweight world champion Daniel Dubois has called out Jake Paul after the YouTuber turned boxer defeated Mike Tyson on Friday. Paul beat 58-year-old Tyson by unanimous decision at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, leading various boxers to offer to be Paul's next opponent. With no opponent locked in for his first title defense, Dubois has turned to Paul on social media. Daniel Dubois has made his intentions clear, calling out Jake Paul with a direct challenge and messaged Jake on Instagram while stating, "Hi Jake, good business on the weekend, but how would you feel fighting for the legitimate heavyweight championship of the world? This is Daniel Dubois calling you out. Let's get it on." Paul responded on X and stated, "Man has been boxing for 12 years, has over 100 fights between amateur and pro, and fought on my undercard, ha ha ha, but it. I'm going to have promoter Nikisa Badarian talk to Frank Warren and get you in line for the throne. Unlike Artur Beterbiev, at least you have a few thousand fans." Dubois beat Anthony Joshua in a devastating performance at Wembley in September to claim the IBF heavyweight belt, dropping Joshua to the canvas 3 times before winning with a knockout in round 5.
There you go, Dan.
Well, we
right?
sparred hundreds of rounds, didn't it?
You cracked him, Daniel. So you know you can hurt.
It's sparring. Now we're fighting. It's different, you know.
I think it's different.
Ready to go. Move on now. You can move on now.
Oh,
Move on.
okay. No tables flying, anything. Let's just keep this one.
The 27-year-old Dubois fits the bill, as the Englishman is undoubtedly in the midst of the best run of his career. He lost to then undisputed world heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk by 9th round knockout in August 2023, but bounced back to beat previously undefeated Filip Hrgovic by 8th round technical knockout to win the interim IBF heavyweight title. In his biggest win to date, Dubois retained the IBF heavyweight title with a 5th round knockout of Anthony Joshua in September. Joshua is a multi-time world champion in his own right and one of only 5 boxers ever to defeat legendary heavyweight Vladimir Klitschko.
Relax.
If you want to go now, let's go.
Relax.
If you want to go now, let's go.
Chair across your face. Don't disrespect.
No, you can't intimidate me.
Don't disrespect.
You can't intimidate me.
Don't disrespect.
You can't intimidate me.
Daniel, don't
Who do you
disrespect.
think you are?
Daniel, don't disrespect me. Can't put this chair across your face. No, don't disrespect me on my life. No, man. It's okay. I want this little boy. Don't disrespect me, bro.
Good. No.
Know who the this guy thinks.
No. It's good.
Don't take disrespect lightly, Dan.
It's good.
Dan, don't take disrespect lightly, you know. Don't sit on the table telling me we can go now and do all of this and that and try to call me out.
Right, can we call that a cut?
yeah, we will.
Good.
Dubois would undoubtedly be Paul's toughest opponent to date, and given Paul's relative lack of experience, it is fair to wonder if he truly wants to take that fight, as he would run the risk of getting exposed.
I like Jake Paul. I like what he's doing for boxing, but this is getting ridiculous now. Obviously, I can understand why Daniel would challenge him, because it'd be Daniel's biggest payday so far. As funny as it may seem, considering he's a real champion, Jake Paul is a YouTuber. It'd be Daniel's biggest payday. I get it. And we'll get murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the truth, isn't it? He's not going to get in with a proper boxer, is he? A proper professional at the moment.
Dillian Whyte, a British professional boxer, has expressed that while Jake Paul is not yet considered a professional boxer, his involvement in the sport has brought significant attention and financial opportunities to fighters. He acknowledges that challenges like Paul's against Daniel would offer huge paydays, but also stresses that Paul is still far from fighting real, seasoned professionals. Meanwhile, boxing analyst Spencer Oliver believes Jake Paul won't back down, stating that boxing has become a defining part of his career. According to Oliver, Paul is fully committed to the sport and won't shy away from the challenges that lie ahead.
Listen, look, we know what Jake Paul's all about. He's done an incredible job for himself. As you know, this kid, this YouTuber turned influencer, Disney Channel kid who's sort of turned into a multi-millionaire, and he's turned his eye to boxing. His journey into boxing actually was because his life, he hit fame and fortune at an early age. His life was spiraling out of control, as it would when you sort of, you reach those heights at such a young age.
Spencer Oliver blasted on the growing influence of Jake Paul, noting that even fighters like Daniel Dubois are now reaching out to him for a shot, recognizing the financial opportunity Paul brings. But Spencer acknowledges the positive impact Paul's presence could have on fitness and discipline for younger fighters. Oliver also expressed concern, pointing out that it's becoming a bit of a joke when top-tier fighters like Beterbiev are also engaging in these talks.
When Jake Paul starts talking about Daniel Dubois, like the influence that Jake Paul's got right now is that Daniel Dubois is DMing him, asking him to fight because they recognise where the money's at.
Easy money. Well, that's the thing, Spence. That's the thing, mate. You're 100% right. It can only be a good thing if some of the young kids come into it, but in terms of fitness and discipline, I get all that. The flip side of the coin, mate, it's becoming a bit of a joke. I mean, you're getting top quality fighters. I mean, I even read somewhere that after Beterbiev, but fancied I DM'd him as well, and Dubois.
Spencer Oliver expressed his disbelief at the situation by stating, "It's totally out of hand when you have the world heavyweight champion sliding into your DMs asking to fight you." He pointed out that fighters like Canelo and Artur Beterbiev are recognizing the financial opportunity of facing Jake Paul, as they can earn significantly more from a fight with him than from a traditional challenging bout.
But in terms of fitness and discipline, I get all that. The flip side of the coin, mate, it's becoming a bit of a joke. I mean, you're getting top quality fighters. I mean, I even read somewhere that after Beterbiev, but fancied I DM'd him as well, and Dubois. But again, you're looking at it. It's a right few quid for these guys as well. Is the whole thing getting a little bit out of hand, mate?
I totally agree with it. It's totally out of hand when you've got the world heavyweight champion sliding into your DMs asking to fight you. We're talking about Jake Paul here, and Canelo and Artur Beterbiev, because they recognise actually they can earn 10 times the money fighting Jake Paul than what they can get in a normal fight, in a difficult fight. I mean,
meanwhile, light heavyweight world champion Artur Beterbiev, who beat Dimitri Bivol to become the undisputed champion in October, also indicated on social media he would fight Paul. Beterbiev challenged Jake Paul, stating, "What can you do in the ring against the current undisputed champion? Just know that I am always open to any suggestions." Beterbiev wants to see Paul prove himself in the ring. Beterbiev further said to Paul on X, "After 4 years, it's time to have serious challenges. Didn't notice your acceptance or rejection, so what are we gonna do?" Paul has undoubtedly been impressive since turning pro as a boxer in 2020, but many have fairly critiqued his quality of opponent. The vast majority of those who Paul has boxed have been significantly older than him, and many of them were not even boxers, including former NBA guard Nate Robinson and veteran MMA fighters such as Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz.
August, I'm back, baby.
Get on. Get downstairs.
Paul's only loss was a split decision to 25-year-old boxer Tommy Fury, leaving many to question what would happen if Paul were to face a highly ranked boxer in his prime. With Jake's marketing prowess, even non-boxing fans could turn this into a massive spectacle regardless of the mismatch. Dubois isn't as accomplished as Alvarez, but he is much bigger and stronger, which could make him a matchup nightmare for the problem child.
No, I represent Mexico. That's why I try to not fight Mexican fighters. But at the end of the day, this fight is going to be good for Mexico. So 2 Mexicans in the Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas. Everybody's watching us, so I'm very proud about it.
Canelo, how easy of a fight is Jake Paul? How easy of a fight is Jake Paul?
I don't want to say any bad things. I think he doing good things for his own team, but boxing is a little bit different when you fight in a real fighter.
With that said, Paul did recently call out multi-weight class world champion Canelo Alvarez for a future bout, but Canelo made it clear that Paul isn't on his radar, saying, "I'm not interested." Canelo Alvarez is the name that's the most likely for Paul next. Both fighters seem game for it. Paul thinks a win over Alvarez could legitimize him as a boxer, and he's not wrong. He said, "One of the best to ever do it. A legend, pound for pound great, if not the best in the sport. What excuse does the audience have, and does Canelo have when that happens?" As the potential fight between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez looms, Jake remains confident that defeating a legend like Canelo would solidify his place in the boxing world. With both fighters seemingly on board, all eyes are on this high-stakes showdown that could change the trajectory of Paul's boxing career.
Sounds insane, and then all of a sudden, one day, I guarantee Jake will be fighting Canelo. We're all going to be like,
well, no, I think he'll fight Canelo. I just don't know if I don't know that. That's not a world champion fight, obviously.
No, but he's still fighting Canelo.
No. I believe he will fight Canelo, probably in a similar vein that you fought Floyd.
Yeah, maybe. But
Floyd Mayweather has no doubt that Jake Paul would get up if he ever faced Canelo Alvarez in the ring. Mayweather's bold prediction highlights the massive challenge Paul would face against the pound-for-pound great. But Mayweather also said if Jake continues to fight with MMA fighters, he will continue to shine. Mayweather believes that Paul could keep gaining success and attention by taking on smaller opponents, where the competition might be more favorable for him.
You know where his mindset's at.
He get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMZ.
You can curse. You can curse.
I apologize, but
no apologize about.
There's no way he get demolished. But for what he's doing, as long as they keep getting YouTubers and keep putting them in there with MMA guys, that's kind of over the hill, he's going to continue to shine.
After his bizarre contest with 58-year-old Mike Tyson, boxer Vidal Riley said of Paul, "People are giving him so much fuel, they don't realize that's what keeps him going." Riley built his own following on social media when training YouTuber KSI, but is the English cruiserweight champion and was a high-level amateur boxer. He has known Dubois since they were 8 years old and beat him in an amateur bout when they were teenagers. Riley added, "Everyone wants the attention. You see 65 million people tuned in to see Paul fight Mike Tyson. They think I could do 65 million views. I get it, but at the same time, we've all done what we've been doing for many years and made a living doing what we've been doing, so you don't want to be letting his hype deter you and get you clout chasing. It's unnecessary." Riley wrapped up by stressing the importance of staying focused on one's career and avoiding distractions from hype-driven pursuits, highlighting the value of dedication and consistency in building lasting success.
You won't fight KSI because he's too young?
KSI is old. He's like 34 or something.
So there's a chance?
He's a retired boxer. Like, he doesn't actually box, so it fits any senior citizen.
I'd really like you and KSI to stop hating each other. But I understand that can't happen without somebody getting knocked out or some shit. So can you just get it over with, please?
I'm ready.
No, you're not.
I'm
Neither is
literally
he.
ready.
He's too light. You're too heavy. Flip a coin for the weight class?
I would low-key be down for that.
If he's down for that, that might be the solution to all this. Never know.
I think for right now, I'm just kind of enjoying myself.
Yeah, fair.
But
from an entertainment perspective, the biggest fight for Paul is against KSI. KSI called out Jake and his brother Logan for a fight in 2018. Logan would fight him twice, but Jake was always there to add tension. Jake beat KSI's brother Deji, and the two continued to call one another out several times. However, a contract has never been signed. KSI and Paul have a long-standing relationship that is highly complicated. KSI has been vocal about wanting to fight Jake, saying, "I really love this whole boxing scene. It gives me purpose. It's my passion right now, so I just want to keep doing and eventually get to Jake Paul and knock him out." But he's now business partners with Jake's brother Logan, so a fight between the two could get dicey on many levels. It wouldn't be all that competitive, and in the long term would not have any weight in terms of boxing legacy.
I think it was a draw, honestly.
I think you would have been lucky to get a draw. I think he beat you.
I'm not sitting here and saying that I should have won. All I'm saying is that Tommy should want to come back and like actually beat me properly. When I beat Tyron Woodley, it was kind of like, damn, that could have gone either way. And I wanted to come back and prove myself. And the saying of the next fight was leave no doubt. That's the beauty of what Tommy should do here, is leave no doubt.
Paul's lone loss is to Tommy Fury, brother of Tyson Fury. It makes sense to rebook this as the fight was close, and Paul believes he did enough to win. It's also the only legitimate opponent in the boxing scene he's ever faced. After making waves with his recent victories, Jake Paul is eyeing the ultimate test, a fight against Floyd Mayweather. This potential clash between the YouTube star-turned-boxer and the undefeated legend has the boxing world buzzing with anticipation.
Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it. Once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not going to be that good.
Floyd Mayweather revealed the shocking truth about Jake when he said Jake cannot fight with real fighters still, and he claimed Jake versus Mike Tyson's fight was fixed. But when Jake came to the ring with a real fighter, he would lose surely. But on the other side, Jake Paul expressed unwavering confidence about a potential fight with Floyd Mayweather, boldly stating, "Floyd, I would knock him out, bro, 100.
What do you think happens if you fight Floyd Mayweather?
I would knock him out,
Bro,
100%.
don't be ridiculous.
You think because you lost a fight to Floyd Mayweather that you're better than me at boxing?
You said I won the fight.
In person, when I was watching it, I thought so. Watching it back, it's like, okay, I've had like a biased point of view, like sitting there in person.
This is the first time I've heard you say that.
Yeah, but because we never talked about it.
Switching up like that?
In response to skepticism about his claim, Jake addressed criticism by referencing Mayweather's past fights, even admitting that his perspective on certain outcomes had shifted over time. Reflecting on one of Mayweather's previous bouts, Jake revealed he initially believed the opponent won, but later acknowledged his personal bias, showcasing a rare moment of introspection. But they may be too different size-wise to make the fight happen. Paul fought Nate Diaz in a boxing bout in 2023, where the former's cardio got tested. Though Paul won, the former UFC fighter showcased his durability and elite conditioning. Through fight week, there was plenty of tension between the two, and there continues to be.
Nate Diaz is ducking me in MMA.
That would be such a fun build-up.
How do you see that fight going for Jake?
It's a winnable fight for you. I really do think that, but Nate is so you would have to do what I did against Aljo and Marab. Not let that motherfucker grab you. Not that you can't wrestle, because I know you can wrestle.
That's exactly how I feel about it. If I don't get guillotined, then I win the fight. Because he's also the weakest puncher I've ever fought.
Really?
When he was hitting me, I almost like started laughing. I'm not even saying this to talk shit.
Paul has challenged Diaz to an MMA fight under the PFL banner. Paul signed a deal with the PFL as a fighter and head of fighter advocacy. However, he still needs to compete in the smart cage. He plans to compete in 2025, but the one fight that could draw plenty of interest is against Diaz. Jake Paul has boldly stated that he believes he can defeat Nate Diaz in his first MMA fight, calling it a 50-50 battle. Paul said, "So I think I can beat Nate Diaz in my first MMA fight. It would be tough, of course. It's a 50-50 fight, but I don't want to go into something where I'm going to be outclassed, like fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov in my first fight." Diaz is no longer with the UFC, but is in good standing with the organization. He has requested a fight be under his fight organization, Real Fight Inc. Paul is ready to fight in the cage. However, Conor McGregor is one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports, not named Jake Paul. Everyone still wants a piece of the Irish fighter, years after he reached his prime by becoming a 2-division champion and boxing Floyd Mayweather in 2017. Though McGregor has gone through several legal issues and hasn't competed since 2021, there would still be interest in the fight. Paul called out McGregor after he faced Tyson, attempting to get something going against the notorious one. Paul wrote on X, "Dear Connor, I know you told my team you would fight me at 170 pounds. That's never happening, but let's run it in MMA, no weight class, just like how it used to be done, but you won't." McGregor broke his tibia against Dustin Poirier in 2021. He was supposed to fight Michael Chandler following the finale of The Ultimate Fighter 31, but that never came to fruition. UFC CEO Dana White stated McGregor could return to the octagon by early 2025. As Jake Paul's rise in boxing continues, Conor McGregor has sparked his own controversy, making waves with some now deleted tweets. First, McGregor stirred the pot by claiming that Jake was eyeing Pritchard Colon as his next opponent. He didn't stop there, tweeting an unexpected compliment about Mike Tyson's physique, calling him God's creation. While the tweets were quickly deleted, they had already ignited a firestorm among fans. Unimpressed by McGregor's remarks, Jake Paul responded, calling out the UFC star on social media. "Dear Connor, I know you told my team you'd fight me at 170 pounds, but that's never happening. Let's do it in MMA, no weight class, just like the old days, but you won't." Jake Paul's challenge to Conor McGregor has added another layer to their ongoing feud, as Paul pushes for an MMA showdown without limits. At the post-fight press conference, Paul dismissed the idea of a fight with McGregor entirely and emphasized that McGregor was wise enough to avoid the challenge. His remarks combined his characteristic confidence and playful taunts, both ridiculing McGregor and reinforcing his image as someone fearless in targeting the biggest names in combat sports.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
he's
two,
not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
and
say,
it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul and will never box him, but it's the fucking truth. And look at him go toe-to-toe with Nate Diaz, who was easy work for me. It was like a Monday sparring session to beat Nate Diaz's ass. So he doesn't ever want the smoke with me. It won't ever happen.
One exciting name for Paul is Jorge Masvidal, the former BMF champion. Masvidal retired from the UFC in April 2023 after a career that started in 2003. He has been busy promoting his own bare-knuckle MMA promotion, Gamebred FC. Masvidal did fight Nate Diaz in a boxing bout in July. He is interested in fighting Paul, but may not be able to, given a clause in his contract with the UFC. Masvidal said, "I'm full-time with the UFC. The UFC granted me permission to box outside the company, but one of the names that I wasn't allowed to fight was Jake Paul." Despite his willingness to take on Paul, Masvidal revealed that the UFC has blocked the matchup due to Paul's disrespect towards the organization and its leadership. He further added, "The reason is, he's trashed the UFC brand too much, he's disrespected Dana and Hunter Campbell too much, and he said things he shouldn't have said, so the UFC said I'm one of their top sellers. Why are we going to allow you to go make some money for this f***ing dweeb over here? So I'm not allowed to fight Jake until I'm done with my UFC career." Masvidal is rumored to return to the cage and compete at a UFC event in Miami in 2025. After that, he could face Paul if negotiations go well. While Masvidal is eager for a showdown with Jake Paul, the UFC's restrictions prevent it for now. As his UFC career progresses, fans will have to wait and see if this fight ever becomes a reality after Masvidal's time with the promotion. With Jake Paul continuing to make waves in both boxing and MMA, the big question is, what's next for him? Whether it's a high-profile bout against a seasoned fighter like Canelo, or a showdown with another MMA star, Jake's journey in the combat sports world is far from over. Fans will be eagerly waiting to see what challenge he takes on next, as his rise continues to shake up the fight game. And how do you think Jake Paul's career will evolve if he continues to fight MMA fighters? Who should Jake Paul fight next to prove himself as a legitimate boxer? Let us know your opinions in the comment section.